text from the delivery driver flashed on my screen while I was still on a rooftop in South Phoenix, kneeling by a compressor big as a coffin. Your wife asked me to leave the food by room 312, it read. Motel off Van Buren, all good. He used my number because it was the contact on the order. My stomach didn't drop so much as it turned, slow and mean, like a wrench slipping on a rusted bolt. Alana was home with a migraine. We had spoken 90 minutes ago. She said the blinds were shut and the Advil was working. If there was a room 312, it wasn't ours. I thumbed back, fingers still dusty with coil grit. Who is this for? I wrote. He answered with a friendly speed. Only a man trying to finish his run has. Order name, says A. Ramsey. Said to text this number for drop photo. He added a link. I tapped it and a photo filled the screen. A cheap tan door, big metal numbers, 312, a pizza box and a sweating 2-liter, the background wash of that kind of hallway where the carpet is the color of old ketchup. Heat rose off my neck in waves. Phoenix after dark still feels like an open oven. The fan unit throbbed beside me and I tried to breathe to its rhythm. You're tired, I told myself. You're on your 4th call. Alana gets migraines. Migraines get hungry too, right? Except this driver didn't say porch, he said motel. I zoomed. The door sign at the end of the hall had the motel's name stamped at the bottom. Desert Palms Inn. I knew it 2 ways. 1, I'd changed out 3 wall units there last August. 2, it was 20 minutes from our place in Maryvale, and it rented by the hour if you knew how to ask. I stood up too fast and my knee popped. You okay up there? Carlos, my apprentice, called from the truck below. Yeah, I lied, unhooking my belt pouch. Buttoned up. Let's go. In the cab, the cold air hit and made me shiver. Carlos started to tell me about his kid's baseball game and stopped when he saw my face. Trouble? I showed him the photo. He whistled low. Maybe she ordered for someone, like her friend? He was trying on the voices people use when they're building a bridge for you, and you both know it won't reach. Alana's home, I said. Headache. Even saying it made the word feel silly, like a little blanket you might try to throw over a fire. Do you want me to drive? He asked. You can call her. I shook my head. Drop me at the yard. I'll take my own truck. Driving back, I set the phone in the cup holder and watched the screen do that thing it does when your life is deciding whether or not to change. I called Alana once, twice, voicemail. Babe, I said, cooler than I felt. Call me when you can. How's your head? I hung up. The driver texted once more like he was finishing paperwork. Left food, knocked, no answer. TXC. At the depot, I barely killed the engine before I was in my own pickup, the old Tacoma with the rattling tailgate. The desert night had that smell of dust trying its best to be a breeze. My phone buzzed. An email banner slid across the top. Your Uber receipt! The subject line hung there like a joke from the wrong comedian. I tapped it at a stoplight. Passenger Alana. From our address. To Desert Palms Inn. Drop-off time 10:22 p.m. The same night, 10:22 p.m. The same hour the pizza hit the hallway carpet outside 312. I pulled over in a lot beside a taqueria that kept its bright open sign even after midnight. I had to put my hands flat on the steering wheel and count to 10. It didn't stop the shaking. Every muscle flickered, a line of Christmas lights shorting out up and down my arms. I called her again. On the 4th ring, she answered. Her voice was soft. Hey, I thought you were on a call. I was. How's the rooftop? You sounded hot earlier. There it was, a normal sentence in a life that wasn't normal anymore. I'm off, I said. How's your migraine? Better, she said. I took a shower and it helped. I'm going to lie down again. I listened hard and heard something through the phone that wasn't our house. It was a thin, whistling whir, the specific tone of a through-wall AC unit fighting old fins. Most people wouldn't notice it. I install those fights for a living. Where are you? I asked. She laughed once, too light. Jordan, I'm home. Where else would I be? I don't know, I said. There's a pizza at room 312 that thinks you're hungry. Silence. Even the whir stopped, though I knew it hadn't. What? A driver texted me from an order under your name, I said. He left it by room 312 at Desert Palms Inn. Uber says you were dropped there 20 minutes before that. She inhaled, a quick high sound, and then, like a stagehand pulling a rope on a curtain, her voice changed. Jordan, that's... No, my app must have... She paused. My mom called. She needed help with something. She lives off Van Buren. I picked up food for her. Your mom is in Mesa, I said. I met my aunt, she said, as if a map was a suggestion. I had a headache. I took a shower, and I went over. She doesn't feel safe at night. Which aunt? I asked. The one who calls me the AC guys like it's a crime, or the imaginary one at 312? Are you accusing me? She said, and her voice found that place where shame and anger meet and pretend they're cousins. Because if you are, maybe you should think about all the times you've been on a calls until 2 in the morning. Do you want to swap phone records? Do you want to go to war? I want to know the truth, I said. That's all. The truth is, I don't feel seen by you anymore, she said. And I could hear it. She'd been saving that line like a coupon. The house is always warm because you're always working on other people's air. I'm alone all the time. Her breath hitched. I'm going to sleep. We can talk in the morning. Are you at Desert Palms? I asked. She hung up. I sat in the truck's hot dark, the taqueria's neon humming at my shoulder, and said out loud to nobody, okay. The word wasn't courage. It was a marker I dropped, so I could find my way back to this moment if I ever tried to tell myself later I was confused. The motel's sign was a sun that never set, faded orange over stucco that had once been white. The lot's asphalt was broken and shiny in the spots where oil had turned it into a mirror. I drove the loop slow and low, windows down. Half the units had their curtains shut with day-old plastic forks jammed in the tracks. Alana's Corolla wasn't in front. It was in back, where the security camera's red eye was out, a bulb popped or cut. I parked near the office, under a palm with more dead fronds than live, and went inside. The front desk clerk looked like he'd found a way to nap with his eyes open, one earbud in, a phone propped low. "Can I help you?" he said, both bored and suspicious, the way only night shift people can pull off. "I'm waiting for my wife," I said. "She said she'd meet me in the lobby." He did that smile that isn't one. "We can't give out guest information." "Good," I said. "I'm not asking." I set my phone on the counter and slid it toward him. "She ordered food here from my account. She took a ride share here, room 312. I'm going to sit on that chair and be quiet until I see her. If I'm wrong, I'll leave you a 5-star review so sparkly you'll get a raise." He looked at the screen. He looked at me. He looked at the camera dot on the ceiling. "You can sit," he said, and went back to his phone. It was 10,005.8 when I sank into the low leather couch. I know because I took a photo of the office clock, a habit from work when you document the before and after so nobody argues the hours. 10 minutes in a motel lobby is 12 anywhere else. 20 minutes is an hour in a waiting room for a diagnosis you don't want. I learned the pattern of the soda machine's hum. I learned that the counter bell stuck halfway down. At 11,019, a woman came in wearing a dress too nice for the building. She kept her eyes on the ground. At 11,023, the elevator dinged. I stood. My legs didn't feel like part of me. The doors opened, and a man stepped out first, sleeves rolled, the kind of crisp button-down that doesn't wrinkle even after you've been lying on it. He had a haircut I'd seen in our kitchen once, 8 months ago, when Alana's friend from work dropped off a laptop she'd left at a team happy hour. He'd lingered then, asking about our AC, about our road trip plan to Pine Top we never took. He smelled like cedar and something sharp. Ethan. I had shaken his hand at our door and felt his eyes measure our hallway, the lack of pictures, the way our couch sagged in the middle from that time we fell asleep watching a D-backs game and never fixed the springs. "Thanks for being so supportive of her," he'd said. "Not every guy understands women in marketing. It's a lot of networking." Alana stepped out after him. She had my old gray zip hoodie on, the one I kept in the truck for after sunset calls when the temp drops fast. Her hair was pulled into a low knot. That wasn't how she wore it for me. She saw me and stopped so fast Ethan almost bumped her. For a beat, nobody spoke. It felt like standing at the lip of a canyon, looking down and trying to see where the bottom is. "Jordan," she said. "Alana." Ethan tried to smile, because he's the sort who believes he can talk his way out of a locked room with no door. "Hey man, this is..." "Don't," I said. "Just don't." Alana stepped forward like the floor might give out and she wanted to test it with the ball of her foot. "We can talk," she said, "but not here." "Where then?" I asked. "Room 31T?" "That's not fair," she said, and the corner of her mouth trembled. "I wasn't feeling well. Ethan was, helping me." "With what?" I asked. "Nutrition? I saw the pizza." "It was a conversation," she said. "We needed privacy. You're always gone. When you are home, you're still at work. Your shirts smell like attics and metal. I don't know how to reach you anymore." "Some people use words," I said. "Phones, calendars." Ethan found his voice's lower register, trying to place himself between us without physically doing it. "Jordan, I think there's a way to de-escalate." "Step 1, I said. Don't say de-escalate to a man standing in a motel lobby because a pizza texted him. Step 2, shut up." He raised his hands, palms out like I had asked for them. I get it. I do. But if you could see. Could I see your left hand? I asked. He blinked. What? The ring tan, I said. You took it off. The skin's lighter. My man, you met me in my kitchen wearing it. He tucked his hand into his pocket. Alana flinched. She turned toward me, the hoodie's zipper cold and shiny. Jordan, she said, and when she said my name this time it was smaller. I made a mistake. Which part? I asked. The Uber? The order? The lie about your aunt who lives nowhere? Or was the mistake when you told yourself I wouldn't notice because that's easier than telling me you've been unhappy? We can go upstairs, she said, quiet, pleading. I'll explain. I'm not setting foot in that room, I said. I won't make it bigger than it is. Bigger than it is? She laughed, the sound breaking. It's already big. You're here. You're staring at me like I'm a fire you want to smother. I look like a man who can finally see, I said. Ethan said, softer now, to her more than me. Alana, maybe we should. No, I said, and my voice surprised me because it didn't rise. It lowered into something steady I hadn't felt in a long time. You don't tell her what to do. You don't get a vote. You get to go home to your wife. His eyes flickered quick. He covered it with that smile again, but it had cracks. Jordan, you wouldn't. I would, I said, and I will. The clerk behind the glass pressed pause on his video and cleared his throat. Gentlemen, he said, meaning me, because I was the only one listening. Lobby only. Lobby only, I echoed, and I stepped back, not because the clerk asked, but because sometimes a man needs a rule to push against so he knows where he is. Alana hugged herself. Can we go outside? She asked. Please. We stood under the broken palm. A moth spun itself dumbly against the parking lot light. Cars hissed by on Van Buren, each carrying a life that would not know mine had a crack from top to bottom now. Alana's face looked both older and younger than it had that morning, the way faces do when secrets are pulled away. I swear this is the first time, she said. I swear! I had a memory, quick, bright, of last spring, her at the sink cutting a mango, the juice making the cutting board slick, orange, and sun-warm. I hate the heat, she'd said then, smiling. I only forgive it for the fruit. I wondered if that had been the last honest afternoon we had, like it had a circle around it on a calendar we never looked at again. Maybe, I said. Maybe it's the first time you brought it to a motel. Maybe it's the 10th time you texted him from our couch. Maybe I'm too tired to carry the math. She reached out like she might touch my arm and then didn't. I'm sorry. I believe that, I said. It surprised me that I did. People think the sentence after sorry is the important one. It isn't. It's the one after that. I'm not here to hit anyone. I'm not here to scream. I'm here to say I'm done. Done? Her lips parted like the word itself was a door. Done, I said. You can come by the house tomorrow while I'm at work. You can take whatever you need. If you want to talk about lawyers, we can. I'll be kind. But kindness isn't the same thing as blindness. She shook her head. We could fix this. Maybe, I said, and now the steadiness in me felt like a line I'd drawn with a chalk reel. But I've been fixing things every day for 15 years. I have a tool in my truck for every kind of rattle and leak. You can't hold a marriage up with plastic shims. Tears folded out of her eyes like they were late to the job. I didn't want to hurt you. You did anyway, I said, and I wanted to say it without bitterness, like a fact. You're good at wanting. You're not good at telling the truth when it might cost you the wanting. Ethan hovered a careful distance away like he'd read a book about boundaries. He cleared his throat. I'll get a ride, he mumbled, to no one. Alana, I'll text you later. No, I said, and the word fell easy. You'll go home to your wife? Heather, right? He froze. Jordan? I'll send her what I have, I said. The driver's text, the receipt. I won't be cruel. I'll be precise. He rubbed his eyes with the heel of his hand like he was trying to erase the night. You don't have to do that, he said. Neither did you, I said. When I drove away, the clock on the dash glowed 11,047. The orange motel sun got smaller in my rear view until it was just another cheap star. Back at our house, the porch light was on, the automatic timer doing what it was told. Inside, the living room carried the faint smell of deodorant in my boots, the life we'd built stacked quietly where we had left it. I sat on the edge of the couch. My phone screen shook in my hand. I opened her contact and scrolled up, past grocery lists, past photos of the desert after a rain, past her sending me a meme of a dog in sunglasses and us laughing at it in different rooms. I dropped the phone on the cushion beside me because I didn't want to see it ring. I showered. I stood under water that ran hot and then cooler and then finally exactly how I like it. I put on the hoodie because it smelled like nothing, and then I took it off because it smelled like her. At 1002 a.m., I messaged the delivery driver. "Thanks," I wrote. "Wrong number tonight. Not your fault. Sorry for the weirdness." He replied with a thumbs up a minute later, and I laughed once, sharp, because men like us are always apologizing for the things that aren't ours. At 1007, I typed a name into Facebook. Heather Miller. We weren't friends, but I knew the shape of her profile photo. She'd commented on a company party picture last year. White tank top, 2 kids with chocolate on their faces, a backyard monsoon sky behind them. I started to write and stopped because I didn't want to be the kind of man who detonates someone else's kitchen in the middle of the night. I slept 2 hours. I dreamed I was up on another roof, staring down into a black vent that hummed like a beehive. When I woke, the sky over Phoenix had that pale slice in it that means it's thinking about being morning. I made coffee and couldn't drink it. At 7014, Heather's green dot appeared. Before I could talk myself out of being decent, I sent a message. "Hi Heather, I'm Jordan. We met in my kitchen once when Ethan dropped off a laptop. I'm sorry to have to send this, but I thought you'd want to know." Then I attached the screenshots, the driver's message, the drop photo by 312, the Uber receipt with the destination line circled. I didn't add commentary. I didn't add a curse. She responded at 721. "Thank you for telling me. That was all. No question, no shock. Like she had been living on the edge of a cliff and someone finally told her how far down it went." Then 3 dots, then more. I wondered. Then, "I'm sorry. Then, are you okay?" I stared at that last one for a long time, longer than I'd stared at the motel lobby clock. It felt like a small cloth pressed to a wound you can't see. I typed. "Not yet. I will be," she wrote. "Same." We stopped there, 2 strangers connected by a line no one wants to draw. Alana came by around noon while I was out on a call. She texted me a list of what she'd taken: clothes, toiletries, her mother's ring, the framed print of saguaros we'd bought off a guy at First Friday, a cashmere throw someone had given us at our wedding that we only used once because Phoenix. She ended with, "I'm sorry again, please don't tell my parents." I typed back, "I'm not your cover story. I didn't send it." I wrote, "I won't." Then I drove to a house off 27th Avenue and fixed a unit that had been short cycling for weeks. The dog there licked my knuckles, and the old man thanked me and pressed a can of cold Dr. Pepper into my hand like it was a medal. That night, the quiet in our house had a weight. Sound carries different in empty places. I turned on the ceiling fan, and it clicked, soft and constant, like the heartbeat of a small animal you hold to your chest until both of you calm down. I looked at the dent in the couch cushion where we usually put our feet toward each other and pretended to be irritated about the remote placement. I tried to eat and couldn't. I tried to not replay the elevator ding and couldn't. I Googled Desert Palms Inn and read the reviews and didn't know why. On the 3rd day, the world shook itself like it was done with me. Work piled up. The forecast hit 108 at noon and stayed there until dinner. People are kind when their air is broken and mean when it isn't. I sweated through my shirt and changed and sweated through the new one. Carlos handed me a bottle of water and kept his mouth shut. "You want to hit the gym later?" he asked finally, which is his shorthand for, "Are you alone tonight?" "Nah," I said. "I think I'll go for a drive." I drove to South Mountain Park and wound up the road to a pullout where the whole city spooled out under my feet like a map you could fold wrong and ruin. I rolled the windows down. The smell of creosote after a tiny, mean rain rose up, and for a second I felt something like peace tug at me. My phone buzzed. It was an email from a lawyer a friend recommended. I started and closed the app, then another buzz. A message from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo. Ethan standing by a front porch, duffel bag on the ground, eyes closed while a woman held the door open with one foot and a toddler clung to her shin. The caption read, "He's out." It was Heather. I didn't reply. What was there to say? The photo said, "Consequences arrive even if you don't invite them." The photo said, "Sometimes the only thing you need to do is stop being an accomplice to your own hurt." Alana called that night. I sat at the kitchen table with the blinds open to the neighbor's oleander and listened to the first ring, the second. On the 3rd, I answered, "Hi." "I talked to my mom," she said. "I told her we're taking space. She's mad at you." "Of course she is," I said. "That's her job." "I want to meet," she said. "Public place. Neutral." We picked a diner on Indian School, the kind with chrome and red stools that looks like it should have a jukebox and doesn't. She wore a dress I liked, and I wondered if that was on purpose. She ordered coffee and kept adding sugar until her spoon clinked on the bottom of the cup. I needed something to shake me, she said. I know that sounds selfish. It is selfish, but I felt like I was disappearing. You could have told me, I said. You could have said, I'm lonely, Jordan. I'm angry. I'm scared you'll always belong more to the roofs than to me. You could have said that, and I would have listened. Would you? She asked. No sarcasm, just a question. Yes, I said. I've been afraid of losing jobs. I'm 38, and the city feels like a machine that only runs if I never sit down. I thought I was protecting us by hustling. Meanwhile, you were here, holding still, thinking stillness meant I didn't care. She put her face in her hands for a second, too long for a public place, and then scrubbed at her cheeks with her fingers. I'm not excusing it, she said. I hate that I did it. I hate the way it made me feel powerful for about 3 minutes and then like trash for hours. I hate that I let him talk to me like he could fix me. I believe you hate it, I said. But some things you break on purpose, and some things you break because you look away when you see the crack. I kept looking away. You did too. I'm done looking away. Are we really over? She asked. Her eyes were rimmed pink like she'd walked through smoke. Yes, I said. There was no triumph in it. There was a softness, a quiet that wasn't empty. I don't want to be married to a version of us that needs motel rooms to have the conversations we won't have in our kitchen. We split the check like strangers. In the parking lot, she stood there a second like she was waiting for a line in a script that never came. Take care of yourself, she said. You too, I said. For weeks, I measured my days in small, good things. A duct I thought I'd have to replace turned out to just need a collar. Carlos's kid hit a double. He sent a video, the sound too loud, the joy bigger than the frame. I finally fixed the click in the ceiling fan by tightening a single loose screw I'd ignored for a year. I ate at our kitchen table, and then at my kitchen table, and then at my table, and the pronouns held, weirdly, like studs behind fresh drywall. One night, late, I parked in the lot of a strip mall in Sunny Slope and watched a monsoon walk across the city like a teacher across a rowdy classroom. Lightning stitched the sky. The rain came down hard and straight, and then slanted, and then sideways. I rolled the window up and then down and let the smell of wet, hot pavement fill my small world. I thought about Alana laughing on our first real date, how happy we were to find a bar with working AC in July. I thought about Ethan's eyes when I said his wife's name. I thought about the delivery driver's thumbs up at 1 a.m. I thought about myself, a man who makes air move for a living, and how still and clear the air was inside my chest for the first time in months. People ask me why I told Heather. Some think I did it for revenge. I didn't. I did it because I would want to know, because no one deserves to live in a house made of lies and good intentions. It didn't feel like blood sport. It felt like holding a door open to daylight. The truth didn't kill my marriage. It clawed at the paint we slapped over rot. I didn't destroy what we had. I just stopped closing my eyes. I still get a little flash of heat when a number I don't know texts me. I still walk past motels on hot nights and feel the hum of those wall units in my bones. But the nights come and they end. My hands do work. My lungs pull in air. Some days, I even sing in the truck when the old rock station plays the songs you're not supposed to love and you do anyway. On a Sunday, months after, I ran into Heather at a grocery store off 7th. She had her kids in the cart and a list in her hand. We didn't hug. We didn't need to. You look good, she said, which is what people say when what they mean is, you look like you survived. I am, I said. So are you. We parted, two people who saw the same storm and didn't pretend it was a breeze. In the parking lot, a DoorDash driver was wrestling a plastic bag into the back of his sedan while the wind tugged at it with greedy hands. He grinned at me like men do when everything's ridiculous. You ever feel like the bags do what they want? He said. All the time, I said. He drove off into the rain. I slid behind my own wheel and put my hands at 10 and 2. The wipers carved new lines in the water and the road made room for them. That was all. That was enough. If your partner said they were homesick but a stranger's message pointed you to a motel, would you confront them on the spot or collect every receipt first? Where's the line between not being naive and becoming a detective in your own marriage? If this story got you thinking, like and drop your take in the comments and subscribe for the next one.